Greetings to all. Welcome to Future of this Academy. Today we are going to see the hot topic of the year, session 18. Under this, we are going to discuss about two topics. They are reservation and Syrian crisis. This both comes under GS2 paper. So now we are going to see detailed analysis of these two topics. Our first topic is reservation. Under this, we are going to see the purpose of reservation in India and the extent of reservation in India, the SC/ST reservations, OBC reservations, and EWS reservation. At first, we are going to see the purpose of reservation in India. In Indian Constitution, reservations serve the following two primary purposes. They are the advancement of economically disadvantaged groups, that is EWS, or socially and educationally backward classes of citizens, that is OBCs for example, or scheduled castes and scheduled tribes under Article 15 class 4 and article 15 class 5, also in article 15 class 6. So representation of economically disadvantaged groups, that is EWS, or any other underprivileged classes of citizens in the state run services. It comes under article 16 class 4 and article 16 class 2. So the extent of reservation in India is available in India for the following areas: in governmental educational institution in accordance with Article 15 class 4, 5 and 6, also in jobs in government. So legislatures both state and parliament accordance with Article 334 says to 2019 cast a measure of social and educational backwardness was the primary factor used to provide reservation. The reservation quota, different reservation categories also have access to additional relaxations such as upper age relaxations, additional attempt and lower cutoff marks. So, no candidate other than SC, ST or OBC may be considered to fill a vacancy designated for one of these categories. All candidates from general category as well as those from SC, ST, OBC and EWS categories are eligible to compete for the merit seats. Now about the SC, ST reservation. It is not the sole goal for granting reservation in service to members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes to employ members of these communities. Its main goal are guarantee their involvement in state decision making and to empower them. The state is eager to abolish customs like untouchability. Scheduled tribes are granted a 7.5% of quota in jobs and higher education institutions. Scheduled caste get nearly 15% of quota in both. So reservations are granted for SC/ST category with regard to both direct requirement and promotions under Article 16 class 4 and subclass A. So this implies the children of SC/ST parents will receive SC/ST reservation regardless of their parents' income level and government positions. Now reservation for OBC. Here the Mandal Commission report served as the basis for the introduction of OBC reservation in 1991. Mandal Commission. So OBC are allotted nearly 27% of quota for positions in government jobs and in higher education. Regarding the OBC reservation, there is a notion of creamy layer. OBC reservations would only to grant to those from the non-creamy layer. According to the creamy layer concept, certain privileges OBC members are excluded from the full extent of reservation based on their income and social standing. This idea acts as a check to make sure that future generations do not reap the benefits of reservations. Now about this EWS reservation. EWS reservations was recently introduced by Indian central government. In government jobs and educational institution, 10% quota is allocated to candidates from economically weaker sections among the general category candidates. This is accomplished by amending the Indian Constitution 103rd Amendment Act 2000 19 to include classes for the SIM. History for Preservation System in India rectify the historical injustice. The state has implemented reservation policy in part to make for historical injustice committed against members of certain castes by so-called upper caste. The effects are bringing felt a large degree nowadays. Under Article 334 of the original Indian Constitution stipulated that reservation would only be granted for quotas in legislature and for mere 10 years until 1960 only the reservation should be given. So the time frame of the quota in legislatures was extended by later constitutional amendments. Here, later constitutional amendments also established the provisions of reservations in educational institutions and government jobs. So, that's all from the topic under the reservation. Our next topic is about Syrian crisis. So, Syria is a country in the West Asia that shares border with Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Iraq. It shares borders with these countries, and commencing in 2011 and continuing to this day, the Syrian civil war is widely recognized as the world's most brutal conflict. Now, what is a conflict between Shia Islam and Sunni Islam? Sectarian conflict that they have existed in the area for centuries are the sources of this conflict. The two main branches of Islamic religions are Sunni and Shia. The West Asian region is split between these two leaders, with Saudi Arabia seeing itself as the head of Sunni Muslims and the Iran as the defender of Shia Muslims. Saudi Arabia and Iran become significant players in the regional geopolitical conflicts. Now, what are the absence of an accountable government here? There is no democratic or accountable government. It led to citizens' unhappiness in majority of West Asian nations. The Arab Spring, also known as the Jasmine Revolution, was the democratic movement that began in Tunisia in 2011 against the country's authoritarian government. So other nations in the area were prompted by this to speak out against their governments. Now, what are the recent political developments seen here? The Mediterranean Sea forms a very narrow stripe of coastline in Syria, and the remainder of the nation experiences extremely high temperature that frequently result in dust storms and sporadic droughts. Due to unemployment and poverty, the terrible drought that struck between 2006 and 11 incited a great deal for resentment among the populace. With approximately 74% of the population, Sunni Muslims make up the largest religious group in Syria. They were dissatisfied with the President Bashar al-Assad's administration because it had a strong inclination toward Shia Muslim. In 2011, non-violent demonstrations for democracy began in sectarian tensions in Syria, which emerged when the government began a ruthless crackdown on rebel groups with the help of Iran-backed militia. So, meanwhile, the international backers of the Sunni-dominated opposition, including the US, UK, and France, as well as Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Jordan, have offered differing degrees of support. The Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons declared the Syrian government has destroyed all its declared chemical weapons producing, mixing, and filling facilities after Syria accepted the Russian proposal to give up chemical weapons. The rise of terrorist group ISIS, which was founded in Sunni provinces of Iraq and eastern province of Syria, was the result of US and its allied support for rebels Syria in the attempt to overthrow the Assad regime. In 2015, Russia launched an air campaign against terrorists in Syria, shifting the balance of power. The Assad regime reclaimed many areas of the nation, including Aleppo city, with the help of Russia. Now, what are the implications of civil war in Syria? Syria's economic, social, and human development has been severely hindered by the devastating civil war, the country's GDP is currently less than the half of what it was prior to the conflict. Over 25, sorry, over many thousand Syrians have died in 5 years of armed conflict. Millions of innocent people have been injured and 80% of children have been harmed by the civil war. The global refugee crisis has been brought on the widespread human displacement from Syria. The widespread damage to physical infrastructure, including schools, power plants, roads, bridges, and water supplies, it will be extremely difficult to rebuild the physical infrastructure that was damaged. Now, India and Syria crisis. What is the role between India and Syria? So India and Syria have historically enjoyed the cordial ties, but India has consistently opposed Assad's government in neutral manner. The trade and investment, diaspora, remittance, and energy security of the region are areas in which India has significant stake. India was forced to withdraw its oil investments in Syria as the result of Syrian crisis. Even though Syria is not India's main energy supplier, India still places a high value on the political stability of the entire West Asian region. Given that over 7 million Indians are employed in these nations, India should prioritize maintaining regional stability here. Recently, India refrained from voting on a resolution proposed by UN General Assembly that called for an immediate end of hostilities in Syria. India attempted to balance the US and Russia by doing this, but as it was to secure a permanent seat on UN Security Council, India needs to stray from its non-alignment strategy and take a firm stance on international issues like Syrian crisis. So that's all from our today's topics. To read this document, you can visit our website. The website link is given in our description. To get more daily current affairs videos, follow our YouTube channel, also our Telegram channel. Thank you.